Hello everyone, we are back. Another Friday, another stream. Just gonna get the chat up on my phone as we do. No, we're very primitive here. I don't have a chat box. I can't get Streamlabs to work, so that's why. Anyways, hey Cineflick, how we doing? Hope we're having a good day. Make sure to share the stream around. That's what I'm gonna do just now. Just gonna share the stream. So I knew it. He's here. He's here. Ray is here. Sorry we're a little bit late today. About 10 minutes late. Hey guys, how are we all doing? Dude, freaking Spider-Man comics are the worst right now. Sister MJ's like a sister. Yeah, I mean we could talk about that. I mean I've got a video coming out about that tomorrow. It's available for members at the moment. So Green Goblin should be on STL, so we're already going into it, eh? Are we already going into it? Well, we'll get to the tier list, as you can see on the screen. I'm always here, I'm basically your wife. Yeah, I mean, obviously. So how are you guys today? Let me know. Well, actually, you guys, I've got a job for you guys as well, if you are up for it. Share the stream around. Let's get as many people in here as possible. Let's have a good stream. I've got work tonight at 7 o'clock, so we'll be until about 6:30 tonight, and it's currently 5:10 UK time. So we should be here for a good hour and 20 minutes at least. Hi, how are you? I'm good, thank you very much. How are you? What are we doing? We are ranking the Spider-Man villains from the movies. If Big Wheel is S tier, where does everyone else land? He is an S tier, right? Big Wheel's always an S tier. Unfortunately, he hasn't appeared in a movie yet, so I should have specified this is only movies. So, what are your predictions for the post-wiped memory from No Way Home? That's a very, very big question, and I think a question that I need to answer in a video at some point. Yeah, I know. Well, there's a lot of things you can. There's a lot of answers to that question. I don't know if I could answer them all. I think mainly my main prediction will be, I don't know, just probably introducing new characters, new themes, I guess. This should be fun. This should be very fun. Venom is C, so we're already ranking here. Tombstone would be S tier if he appeared in the college trilogy with Chameleon. Tombstone would be really cool. I want to see Tombstone at some point. That would be really cool. Yeah, sorry, I'm just sharing this stream around, so we'll get started in just a second. You guys got in here really quickly, especially in comparison to last week. I think because this week I think was a better time for all you guys, because I've noticed that 5 p.m. UK time on a Friday, which I think is maybe in the morning for some of you guys if you live in the US, is usually a better time. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. Please make a series of videos about what if the MCU had every character since Phase 1. Yeah, I've got a lot of requests to do that, and I think I will get around to doing that on Lewis Fiction at some point. I've got a bunch of videos lined up for Lewis Fiction at the moment, so it probably won't come out for a while, but that is coming. I will confirm that is coming. Okay. So, it's 12 p.m. right now for me, so that would be, if I'm right in saying that is Pacific time, maybe. I think it is. You live on the east side of the US if it's 12 p.m. I've been studying my time zones because of uploading schedules and stuff and trying to find the best time to upload and stuff. Well, when most of you guys can see it, because obviously then most of you guys can watch the videos, obviously, and you know, it's about, you know, getting the most people to watch it in the first hour or so. So. UTS 5, is that in the afternoon? Wow, this is going to be amazing. Hopefully, I want Mr. Negative to be the next villain. Me too. I think Mr. Negative would be cool, and I definitely do think we'll see him in the college trilogy. Anyway, let's get started. So you guys know how this works. We've done this for about a month now, I think. Yeah, I think we've done this for a month, every single Friday. You guys that have been in the streams before, you know how it works. If you haven't, what we do is I'm going to tell you the villain that we are going to rank, and then you guys in the chat have to tell me where you would rank it on this list. Is it S, A, B, C, or D? Sometimes we have F. We don't have F today. We only have S, A, B, C, or D. So D being the worst, S being the absolute best. The Lizard. Go. Where are we ranking the Lizard? I want to know. Where are we ranking the Lizard? Lizard is an A. Wish he had his comic accurate mouth. That's one thing that I thought was weird when he first appeared, as he wasn't comic accurate. You should do if Spider-Man died instead of Iron Man. That could be cool. B, Lizard C, B. We're getting a lot of B's. B seems to be quite popular. I'm voicing Red Skull, and I accidentally sounded like why? Wait, why are you voice? Oh, wait for the Captain America short. Yeah, okay. His motivation is bad though. It's a nice nod to the 90s. Yeah. So, I think. See, the first ranking is always the hardest, and you guys know this. If you've been in the streams before, you guys know the first ranking is always the hardest because where do you rank it? Because in comparison to the other ones, I think he has to be a B. The issue is with the Lizard, and the thing is, I think he might go down, and the reason he isn't any higher, and I think I agree with you guys, is the Lizard is he could have been a great character. Now, if you guys have seen some of the deleted scenes from TASM 1, a lot of them are to do with Dr. Connors. Because that character had a lot more depth to him than the movie portrayed. Because there were scenes with Billy Connors, there was stuff regarding his family, there was just a few more scenes where Dr. Connors was really explored in depth as a character. And they were removed from the film, obviously by Sony. I'm sure if Mark Webb had his way, he would have left them in there. But I feel like his character was mishandled, but he wasn't mishandled to the point where it was bad. I think it was okay. I think his character was fine. Wasn't the greatest part of the movie, but wasn't the weakest part of the movie. I think B, right in the middle of the park. If those scenes was in there, he still wouldn't have been an S. You know what I mean? He would have been a B. Actually, I want to ask you guys a question as well. Is No Way Home's portrayal of any of these characters going to be taken into consideration in this list? Or are we just going to base them off their appearances in their movies? Are we counting No Way Home adding to them as a character? Or are we going straight off their movies? I want to know what you guys think. Because I personally would add No Way Home into the equation. But no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to take No Way Home into the equation. Only Electro. Counting No Way Home, not counting. It's very 50-50, so a lot of people are on the fence if we count the villains in No Way Home as to why. As to their ranking. Actually, yes. Electro, though, was better in No Way Home. Yeah, so that's the thing, because Electro was better in No Way Home. Hello there, hi, Spider-Man 2018 Parker, how we doing? Green Goblin and No Way Home, I'd count No Way Home. Count them, they're still the same characters, they are. That is true. I'm just thinking, obviously, you have Electro, who was really poor in TASM 2, but improved in No Way Home. How's it going, dude? It's going good, thank you. What about you? I think we should add No Way Home because some characters have some improvement. Yeah, okay, so we'll include No Way Home in this ranking then. Okay. Willem Dafoe killed it in No Way Home. No, Willem Dafoe did kill it. Willem Dafoe killed it in Spider-Man 1 and No Way Home. Especially No Way Home. I think Goblin in No Way Home was better than Goblin in Spider-Man 1. So that's why we have Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin. Let's move on to him. What are we saying? They're both good. They are both good. They're great. They were both amazing. I just think in No Way Home, Willem Dafoe's performance was better. And I think his character was better. I think the impact he had on Peter was better. S beyond S tier. Willem Dafoe is the GOAT. Yeah, I think we all agree. I agree as well. Willem Dafoe is S tier. Yeah, no, I mean, the thing is with Goblin is, he's incredible. He's an incredible character, built from the foundations of Spider-Man 1. That movie was incredible. The way that Norman was handled in Spider-Man 1 was incredible. Considering that this was the first big Spider-Man movie of the modern generation, they handled this character with such care. And then when he was brought back for No Way Home, they only went and improved upon what they had in Spider-Man 1 and took the next step. And had him contribute to Tom Holland's Spider-Man like none of the other villains in the MCU have done before. And I'd go as even far to say that Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin is more of a Tom Holland Spider-Man villain than a Tobey Maguire one, even though he originated from the Raimi universe. And I think a lot of people would agree with me in the sense that he impacted in No Way Home to such an extent that that rivalry between Peter and Norman in No Way Home, it's just, it's incredible. Like, the way that his character was handled, the way that they had the rivalry, the way that Norman tricked his way into convincing Peter that, you know, he was a good guy, then the Norman side going away, the Goblin side coming out, killing Aunt May. Everything was just great. Yeah, beyond S tier, everyone agrees Norman is way above all the other villains. What are we saying about Venom? What are we saying about Venom? This is Topher Grace's Venom, obviously not Tom Hardy. You take that back. Listen, man. Hey, listen. Just my opinion. I think he's more of a Tom Holland villain in the No Way Home sense, which is also one of the reasons why I asked you guys if we should count No Way Home, because obviously No Way Home, Goblin, Electro, their characters in that film have a big impact on how they're perceived. Especially Electro. We'll get to that later, though. B tier, he's underrated. B tier is underrated. I personally like this Venom. I agree with you, he's better villain with Tom Holland Spider-Man. B, throwing Toby under the bus. I'm not throwing Toby under the bus. Toby's great. We forgot the 2002 final battle. No, we didn't. It's not the best final battle. Actually, we should rank final battles in one tier list. That's a good idea, actually. We'll rank final battles sometime. Venom is C tier, B, A or B? A. That's quite high. For what the general audience is saying. Venom was a bit meh. So very middle of the park on average. Some of you guys are saying maybe a bit higher. Most of you guys saying B. Yeah. Now, here's the thing with Venom. I think... You see, he was good. He was good in the sense that... Let's think about this, right? So, Topher Grace's Venom was forced into Spider-Man 3, right? Because Sam Raimi was not going to involve the symbiote when Sony wanted him to do Venom. He had to put Eddie Brock in there. That's fair enough. His character... He does have a little bit of depth. We understand his motifs. But we don't really get anything other than he's a reporter and he kind of is in love with Gwen Stacy, right? His only thing that he has is he has this rivalry with Peter Parker, and he's kind of a reflection of what Peter would be if he was completely evil. And I like that. I like that what Sam Raimi did with him reflects what Peter Parker could eventually become. And it was this whole thing. And I'm sure there's a video on YouTube explaining that somewhere. But I think he's a C. I think he's a C. I know a lot of you guys are saying B, and that's kind of the general consensus. But I think looking at the other characters that we have in front of us to go, I think it's fair to say that he's a C. Right? I think it's fair to say. The Venom, him as Venom, I like the design. I like the design in terms of the teeth, the webbing, the spider. I really like it. I think it looks cool. Don't think it was as bulky as I would have liked. And also the dialogue. You could clearly see that Sam Raimi didn't like the character. We could do favorite Spider-Man stories. Yeah, we could. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze in a minute. Oh my god. He could have been better. Just the studio interference. Raimi was really tapping into horror potential. Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, the horror scenes with Venom were great. Because Sam Raimi is a horror director. So it does go hand in hand, but I guess it's just a shame that Sam Raimi doesn't really like that character. I was more scared by Spider-Man 3 Venom. Dude, he kept the origin at the church. Yeah, that was cool. I like that scene. Gwen Stacy, we had coffee, nothing more. He had the hatred for Spider-Man like the comics. I want Null Venom with a Venom backstory. I think, yeah, Null, I think has been rumored for Venom 3 as well, so that could be cool. The Sony Venom was better. I think Symbiote was good, linked to Peter, but the Eddie Brock bit was a bit weak. Man, I'm the only one with better taste. Well, no, not everyone has. I mean, better taste is very subjective. Let's just put that out there, Jay. Let's just say everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Obviously, Raimi Spider-Man. We know you like Raimi Spider-Man, but sometimes other stuff, people are allowed to like other stuff over it. In the last, in the February. Wait, sorry, I'm struggling to read that. I was thinking about the Amazing Spider-Man 500. Happy birthday should be the ideal ending to Spider-Man. What do you think about it? The Amazing Spider-Man 500. Which one was the Amazing Spider-Man 500? The Happy Birthday story? I can't remember that one. I've probably read it. You have to remind me what that one was about. I'm probably just being an idiot. Every time Venom talk, it's always Eddie who is talking. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Sony Venom was better, but Eddie Brock in Spider-Man 3 is better. Yeah, I can agree to that. Well, maybe. I don't know. Eddie Brock in Spider-Man 3 isn't very layered, I don't think. I mean, he is to an extent, but I think a lot of the attention was given to Sandman, which we'll come to in a minute. That's fine, but come on, man. I mean, I'm just saying. Electro is a B, Electro, No Way Home, A, TASM, B, borderline C. Right, okay, so let's move on to Electro then. What are we saying for Electro? I'm going to take a sip of my Diet Coke. I got Diet Coke again. You guys know that this never goes well when I have Diet Coke. Maybe I'm biased, but my love for the Tobey Maguire trilogy is so sacred to be critiqued with me around. Well, I mean, listen. It's fine to critique it. Because people... I used to kind of be the same with Spider-Man 2. I defend that movie to the bitter end. I used to think it was the greatest movie of all time. I say used to. I still think it is the greatest movie of all time. But I don't like... I'm open to the suggestion that it probably isn't the greatest movie ever made. You know what I mean? In my subjective opinion, it is the greatest movie ever made. B, better in No Way Home. B, so this is higher than I expected because I thought people would. TASM to Electro, C, D. B, that's February. I'm sorry, my phone just became full. Yeah, man, listen, I'm a blunder with grammar and spelling myself. Just me as a person. So if there's a word that I can't read, I'm useless. I can't. My brain can't figure it out. No Way Home in A, Electro, No Way Home C, B, TASM B. Would put Electro in the A tier. Overall B. B or A. I'll defend my boy Toby with the dying breath. Do you prefer Electro, Blue Lightning, or the Yellow Lightning? I preferred it blue. No, yellow. Yellow looked cooler. I'm not counting No Way Home. Okay. I'm going to put Electro in C. Now, here's the reason. Electro was the worst villain. No, actually, no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Electro was one of the worst villains. Now, here's the thing with Electro. He had great potential in TASM 2. They set up his motifs really well, but then the way they executed it was really poor. So, when Spider-Man was trying to calm him down, and he took that calm approach, that should have worked, given his character. Because all he wanted was the attention. And I get that the attention was then put onto Spider-Man, and that's what made him angry. But Spider-Man wasn't actively trying to drag the attention away from him. He wasn't actively clowning on him. He was being nice to him. Which he resonated with earlier in the film, which is what made him love Spider-Man. So you'd think that if Spider-Man was trying to talk to him in a calm way, he would listen. And then he becomes evil. I just don't buy into that. I just didn't buy into it. But they had a cool concept with the fact that Electro was maybe I don't know, jealous, power hungry. And I just don't think they played into it in the right sort of way. Like, he had the layers there. I just think the way they did it wasn't the best way that they could have done it. The execution was a little bit poor. So he would have been in D tier, and I don't think he was written very well. But then No Way Home came along, and they didn't really add much to the character as such, because, I mean, you've got loads of characters in that film. That's hard to add something to Electro when you've got so many other characters to work around. But they actually tapped into that idea of Electro being power hungry. They carried on the foundation from TASM 2 and almost reworked it in a sense and made it more viable. Like with the arc reactor, him just wanting to be powerful. They bought into that idea and they ran with it, and I'm glad they did. and they expressed it in a much simpler way, which made Electro a lot more likable in that film as a character, should I say? Obviously, he's a villain. So he moves up to C tier, in my opinion, from the No Way Home portrayal. But overall, I think C tier I think is fair. So everyone's saying B or A. Maybe I'll not counting No Way Home B. So not counting No Way Home, you think he's a B. Amazing 500 was that story with Doctor Strange where it helped Pete come back in his time, but Peter had a battle again, everyone, and then we living again at the moment of those battles. I don't remember that comic. I must be missing something. I'll have to go and read it. TASM 2 was a mess. TASM 2 was a mess. I think the writing of Electro was a bit lazy. The nobody that became bad. Yeah, like I said, the execution was poor, but the foundation was there. By the way, there's a version of Electro super scary in the animated show. Yes, so I'm actually making a video on the MTV Spider-Man show very, very soon. I've been watching it over the last month or so. I'm making a video. Yes, he was terrifying, wasn't he? I watched episode 1 quite a while ago now, but I remember, yeah, he was. I'm making a video on MTV Spider-Man at some point. Hello, hi, how are we doing? Spider-Man apparently signed an extra 10 years contract to sell first in the 6 leaks. Thus is the lineup Kraven, Vulture, Venom, Morbius, Hobgoblin, and Kingpin. Check it out. Are we talking about Tom Holland? Because Tom Holland has signed a new contract. For a Sinister 6 movie, I'm not sure. Right, Sandman. Where are we ranking Sandman? Let's get your votes in. Where are we ranking him? For Sandman, loved Thomas Hayden Church. Great action scenes like the subway scene. But one thing I hated was making him Uncle Ben's killer. So B tier. A or S? C? So we got B, A, S, and C. So it's very mixed at the moment. C, A. Put your votes in. I'll have a little sip. Sandman in Spider-Man 3 was actually very good. A tier. B. Where are we saying? Yeah, I mean, I am going to say Sandman in No Way Home was unnecessary like the Lizard. Yeah, so No Way Home added nothing to his character at all. So for Sandman, I'm not really going to think about No Way Home because it didn't damage his character, but it didn't add anything. So there's nothing really to talk about in that aspect. He is an A for me. Now, the thing is, you can tell that Sandman was meant to be the main villain of Spider-Man 3. And he still is, right? Although you could argue that the symbiote was the main focus. But you could tell that Sandman was meant to be the main villain of Spider-Man 3. You could tell that Sam Raimi wanted to do Sandman as the villain. And then Sony forced Venom in there. I just want to ponder this question, right? I want to ponder this question to you guys. And you guys let me know in the chat. How good would a Spider-Man 3 have been without the symbiote? You remove Venom, you remove the symbiote, you still do the whole story of choice. You do the whole, you have a choice story. But you do it with Sandman as the central figure. And you get to spend more time with Sandman. You get to spend more time with Flint Marco's family. You get to spend more time with Peter Parker pondering over the death of Uncle Ben in his own internal and cynical way, whichever way you want to look about it. Yes, the symbiote can't represent the inner darkness of Peter, but I'm sure Sam Raimi would have done something a little bit different. Imagine how good the movie would have been. It would have been really, really good. Not to mention, Harry Osborn would have also been there as well, and there would have been more time to focus on his character. You could just tell that Sandman was meant to be the main villain. You could just tell. And then obviously in the end, Harry Osborn helping Peter defeat Sandman. Most likely. I don't know. Possibly. But you could just tell. Hi everyone that is new to the chat in the last couple of minutes. Hope everyone's having a good day. Then the main villain was going to be Harry since they build up hatred for killing his father since the first movie. Yeah, he was set up to be a main villain as well. I think him and Sandman definitely were. Sam Raimi didn't want to put Venom in Spider-Man 3. Exactly. Spider-Man 3 without the symbiotes and Venom would have been awesome. Yeah, would have been great. Uncle Ben's killer is stupid. Should have stayed with Dennis Carradine from the first movie. See, this is the thing. I didn't mind Sandman being the killer because I think the whole story of responsibility is still the same. It still is the same. So I don't, because I think it's like if it was revealed to be Sandman in the first movie, I think we would have been looking at something entirely different here. But because it's so far down the line, I think it's like 2 years after Spider-Man 1 happened, Spider-Man 3 is. You look at that, and it's like he's already gone through the responsibility thing. I think that little retcon, that little change to introduce the character wasn't bad at all. I think it works for the story. Now, it's a little bit touch and go because obviously it's messing with the origin. But I don't think it really necessarily changes anything for the worse because Peter is still the Peter he is after Uncle Ben's death. He can be right behind Green Goblin. His backstory is a bit rushed. Him falling into the sandpit and his daughter really, even though it was emotional. Yeah, exactly. And that's why he's not an S tier. That's why he's an A. Because if the movie focused primarily on Sandman as a character, he would be an S. He was a great villain. He was a great villain. Another example of Sam Raimi knowing how to do villains. The inclusion of Venom just messed with the other villains. Exactly, yeah. So, the thing is, if Venom wasn't in Spider-Man 3, it's crazy to think that Sandman would be regarded as up there with Willem Dafoe as one of the best Spider-Man villains. And then Spider-Man 4 probably would have got made as well. So, and then Vulture may have been one of the best ones. Anyway, let's move on, shall we, to Green Goblin from TASM 2. What are we saying? Where are you guys putting Green Goblin from TASM 2? TASM 2, Green Goblin, go. Where are we saying? Where are we saying? I feel like all the live-action Harry Green Goblins were not used to their full potential. I would have liked them to dive more into his sanity, like in the comics. Yeah. D. 2 Ds there, 3 Ds. Everyone's really saying D. D. Wow. D. D. Wow. No one likes Harry Osborn. No one likes TASM 2 Harry Osborn. I might surprise you guys with this one. I might really surprise you guys. I might really, really surprise you guys. No B. James Franco is way better than Dane DeHaan as Harry Osborn. I think they're probably on par, personally. Performance-wise, I think Dane DeHaan gave a better performance in TASM 2 than James Franco did in Spider-Man 1 and 2. But James Franco definitely did turn it up in Spider-Man 3. I definitely prefer James Franco's character, but I don't think there was much between them in terms of acting-wise and portrayal. He created the biggest emotional scene just for that C, but borderline B. I'm going to surprise you guys. I am going to say Dane DeHaan, Harry Osborn is actually a B. Now, hear me out. I know you guys are saying D, and I think you guys are just thinking of the Goblin version of Harry Osborn. But let's think about him as a character before that. So we know that it's set up that we know that Harry has been neglected for most of his life because of his father. We now know that he's riddled with this disease. We then get introduced to his friendship with Peter Parker, which is quite wholesome, and Dane DeHaan and Andrew Garfield have nice chemistry. We are then obviously sprung into this story where Harry Osborn is desperate to oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry, excuse me. We're then sprung into the story that Harry Osborn is then looking for a cure. I'm gonna sneeze again. It's gonna happen. Jesus, sorry. Okay, so yeah, Harry Osborn is then looking for a cure for his disease, and then he's going to do anything to get it. So he asks Spider-Man. Spider-Man says no. He hates Spider-Man now. He doesn't think he's a hero. we know why as an audience Spider-Man can't give him his blood, but Harry Osborn does not know that reason. So then Harry Osborn obviously then figures out that Peter is Spider-Man, and he puts 2 and 2 together, and therefore he's going to lose his life. Why not take something of Peter's? Gwen Stacy. I think his character's great. I just think it was rushed. I think his character is one of the best parts of TASM 2. I just think it's rushed. If his arc in TASM 2 was stretched to TASM 3, let's just say we focus more on Electro in TASM 2 and we improve that a little bit. TASM 2, the main villain's Electro. We push Gwen Stacy's death to TASM 3. We stretch out the Goblin arc and we make Harry the main villain of TASM 3. Maybe we throw the symbiote in there as well, for good measure, right? TASM 3 and Green Goblin in... Harry Osborn Green Goblin in the TASM universe could have been one of the best Spider-Man villains we have ever seen. Just saying. His story was there, and it just... A B, just from TASM 2, says a lot about the potential of that character. Now, you guys might think differently, but I personally think that his character was pretty good. Was one of the better parts of that movie, when you really think about it. His Goblin design was really bad. I agree. All the Goblin scenes, disgusting. Yeah, I understand that. But the character wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad. You seriously like this? Well, I just explained why. I think it was good. Sam Raimi actually build up Peter and Harry's friendship. Yeah, it did. I mean, the thing is, right, we establish in TASM 2 that they used to have a friendship. And I think maybe that's where it loses points slightly, because Sam Raimi did build up that friendship, but we're not comparing them. We're just talking about them as individual characters. Hey, Ravenous Puncher, how are we doing? Hope you are well. You should put him in C tier. You must be joking. Well, I'm not joking. I think he's a good character. On the surface level, you know, obviously there was a few things that could have been improved upon. That's why he's in B. He's middle of the park. 2 of the best friendships are Harry and Gwen. Their twists and turns and vengeful. He's a low-down version of Sandman, the rushed backstory, but potential great spot, but is B. Yeah. Right. Okay. James Franco, Harry Osborn. Right. Where are we saying? Let me know in the live chat. Let me just take a swig of my Coca-Cola. Diet Coca-Cola. You think Diet Coke will sponsor me? Probably not. Imagine. C, A, just a C, a B. So we've had A, B, and C so far. So middle of the park once again. B for me. C tier. C tier. B. Can't be on the same level as Harry Osborn from TASM. Now, the thing is with James Franco's Harry Osborn is that he gets the aided, without even being in No Way Home, James Franco's Harry Osborn gets the aid of 3 movies built up. And we can't ignore that. I think he was a little bit underutilized in Spider-Man 2, personally. But that story wasn't really centered around the Osborns as much as 1 and 3 particularly were. Because Harry only encountered Norman towards the end of that film. Yeah, he was obsessed with killing Spider-Man, and that arc was slowly progressing throughout the background of Spider-Man 2, while the other stuff was happening with Doc Ock and Peter's emotional breakdown and stuff. But that arc was slowly working its way towards what it would become in Spider-Man 3. So yeah, it had this festation throughout the trilogy until it became what it did in Spider-Man 3, which is why I think you have to put Harry Osborn in A, because he is a well fleshed out character. In Spider-Man 1, we understand Harry Osborn as this kid that his father doesn't love him as much as he loves Peter. He then becomes spiteful towards that relationship that Peter has with his father. That sets that rivalry up. We then get the realization that Spider-Man killed Harry's father from Harry's perspective. So now, with those 2 things in place, You put 2 and 2 together. Harry finds out Peter is Spider-Man in Spider-Man 2. It all blows over. Bing bang bosh. The residual hate and underlying anger that Harry had towards Norman and Peter's relationship in Spider-Man 1 and how he resents that is all coming back to the forefront, and his hatred for Spider-Man combining into one. And there you go. Great villain for Spider-Man. And he has the added bonus of it taking 3 movies. But he's not quite Willem Dafoe's Goblin. So, yeah. I like his fight scene with Peter where he bashed his head. Sounds painful, but I laughed so hard. Harry's death was very emotional. I cried when he said, "You're my friend, Peter." Yeah, and the thing is, his death was emotional as well. I've cried at that scene before. This is Sam Raimi wanted. How and why did Harry have the hallucination with Norman at the end of Spider-Man 2? I don't know. I guess it was just because he knew that he needed to go after Spider-Man. PTSD. There are hundreds of Spider-Man villains. Well, yeah, we're only counting the ones from the movies, but I guess we could do a wider one at some point. Lol, no, there aren't hundreds of Spider-Man villains. I'm pretty sure there are hundreds of Spider-Man villains. There are hundreds. There are loads. There are variations. Harry's death still haunted Peter in No Way Home, which, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's how impactful his death was. Maybe we should put an S tier then. Is he a low S? Nah, he can't be. He can't be, surely, right? Nothing comes close to Willem Dafoe. Nothing comes close to Willem Dafoe. Anyway. Right. Let's talk the MCU then. This should get interesting. What are we saying for Vulture? Michael Keaton's Vulture. I've got something interesting to say about him. I think so. His father, Ghost, haunted him to avenge him, even though Peter's his best friend. Do we really count Hypno Hustler as a villain? I mean, we do, unfortunately. I don't know anything about Hypno Hustler. I'm not going to lie. I never even heard of the guy until the movie was announced. End of A. Vulture is an A or a B. A tier was pretty good. A or an S. So everyone's saying pretty high. Keaton knocked it out the park. Oh yeah. In terms of portrayals and performances, Michael Keaton was on Willem Dafoe levels of performances in Homecoming. One of the best Spider-Man scenes in all of Spider-Man movies is in Homecoming. The car scene? What scene? What scene that is. Just read that one. I like how Vulture posed a big threat, as Liz Allen is the main love interest of Homecoming. Vulture A. Vulture's my go-to early Spider-Man villain with Lizard, but just another typical Iron Man worker gone rogue. Michael Keaton was great. Yeah, the only thing I don't like about him was the fact that he was a Tony Stark employee. Well, he had his motivation stemmed from Tony Stark. But, yes, as Jay says, I hated the MCU villains because they were bad because of Iron Man. I disagree with that. See, the only thing I would mark it down for is the Iron Man thing. But at the end of the day, you've got to really think about him as a character first. Don't jump the gun and just say, oh, he's spruced from Iron Man, therefore he's bad. No, that's not how we should judge this. Because take away the Iron Man thing. Is he still a good character? Yes. Let's go to the root of the character for a second. He has to provide for his family. He has a daughter and a wife who he loves dearly. And the only way he can do that is through doing this job. A cleanup crew. That gets taken away from him. So he has to go to the only thing he knows how to do. So steal, clean up expensive alien tech. Instead of cleaning it up, steal it, sell it on, repair it, do what he's got to do with it. He's making ends meet in a world full of superheroes. It makes total sense. He's a scavenger. He's the Vulture. Exactly, right? So, we work with this. Obviously, Peter's trying to stop him, but but we understand why Vulture is doing this. And I think the best villains are the ones that you can kind of relate to. Obviously, they don't always have to be that way, but I think they are more compelling in some sort of way. So then you look at Vulture in Homecoming and you say, well, he's a great character. Okay, well, he's connected to Tony Stark. Does that make him bad? Not really. He's still a great character. He's still one of the best. If you take just screenwriting in general, you just take it as... remove the fact that it's superheroes, whatever. Screenwriting as a character, as storytelling, Michael Keaton's Vulture is a great character. I don't think it has anything to do with Tony Stark. Michael Keaton was the only good thing in Homecoming, in my opinion. I would disagree with that. Between Sandman and Harry, going with B tier, I feel like Homecoming is underrated. It's really good. I really like Homecoming. Look at B tier. B tier villains are the worst. Michael Keaton was the saving grace of Homecoming. No, I don't. I disagree. So he's going in A. I think he's top of A. He's above Sandman. He's below. I think S is exclusive for Green Goblin, but A is top of A, above Sandman, definitely. Definitely above Sandman. Great character. And obviously that connection with Liz Allen as well, with the love interest, perfect. Wow, it ticks all the boxes for me in terms of, actually no, S, low tier S, below, no, I've changed my mind, S. I'm sorry, I'm changing my mind because, I'll tell you why, because the stream lagged there for a second. Sorry, I don't know if you saw it. I'm changing my mind because it ticks all the boxes for me. It actually ticks the box of having a personal connection to Peter Parker, which I think a lot of villains don't do. But it's a personal preference for me, obviously. It doesn't have to. But a personal preference for me, I like a Spider-Man villain that has a personal connection to Peter Parker. So Norman Osborn did it. Sandman did it. Harry Osborn did it. Lizard did it slightly. I mean, it was a personal connection, but it wasn't, it wasn't as personal as, I killed your uncle, or I'm your best friend, or whatever. Or you're the father of the girl I'm dating, sort of thing. It's a theme that I really like. And it was done really well in Homecoming. And it's a fresh take. Like, yeah, he could have been a best friend. He could have been whatever, right? I love it when they give it a very cool and twisted variation of the, it's connected to Peter Parker thing. I love it. I love it when villains do that. And the fact that he was the father of a girl that Peter was dating, I love it. We hadn't seen it before. I think it was really cool. S. Raimi had the villains with the personal connections. He did. What S tier? That's cap. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, S. I'm sorry. The Homecoming fights were underwhelming. Some of them were, yeah. The fights weren't the best part of Homecoming. Doc Ock did it. We'll talk about Doc Ock. Norman was the father of Peter's best friend. Otto was the mentor. Sandman killed Uncle Ben. What are you doing? Morbius S tier. I'm the only one that hated Homecoming. This man is not an S tier. I think it was. I love Vulture. The more I think about him, the more I think he's a great character. I'm sorry. He had that, and okay, let me specify more. That connection with Peter is something that was almost original in a sense, because it was done in a way that hadn't been done before. So we had the best friend, we had the you killed my uncle, we had the mentor, we had Doc Ock, Lizard, Norman Osborn, Mysterio, even, all the same, all mentors, right? That's been overdone, overworked a million times. Vulture, though, girlfriend's dad. There you go. That's it. Cosmic Bazooka, hello, welcome to the chat. Vulture be for me, but I understand your take. I'm sorry Homecoming sucked. It didn't feel like a Spider-Man movie like the Raimi films did. Well, no, it didn't feel like the Raimi films did. It was a very youthful take. And this is something we discussed in one of the other live streams. So make sure you're around for the live streams, because we discussed really cool stuff. We have some really cool discussions. If you haven't already, make sure to join the next one every single Friday. Homecoming was a very youthful Spider-Man film. I kind of felt the same way when it came out, though, Jay. I will agree with you. I didn't have that grandiose feel that the Raimi films did. And I thought, something's missing. But then when I realized, when No Way Home came out especially, I thought, you know what? No, it was meant to feel that way. It was meant to feel less grand, because it's building to something. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was grand from the start. Tom Holland's wasn't meant to be like that. It was meant to be youthful, meant to be calm on the ground. No Way Home, however, took it to the next level. My favorite type of superhero and supervillain personal connections are the ones with the heroes with the lover, daughter, son of their enemy. Just makes for a good conflict. Yeah, exactly like Vulture. I loved Homecoming. I don't care. Sam Raimi did Spider-Man better. That's all to opinion. I think Tom Holland is the best character, Spider-Man character, personally. I do prefer Tobey Maguire. I grew up with him. I love his movies. Spider-Man 2 is my favorite movie of all time. But I think Tom Holland's the better character overall. He's had 6 movies to his name, etc. Right? Tobey only needed 1 movie to become Spider-Man. Tom needed 6. Well, that's just how it was. The arc was spread. You know, I think we had this discussion on a live stream, but Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man had individualistic arcs over 3 movies, right? So 3 movies, Tobey Maguire did a different arc every single time, which is completely fine. It was still a trilogy. It still had reoccurring themes throughout, but every time you could watch them as a standalone movie and you'd understand what was going on. You didn't need any preconceived knowledge, maybe with Spider-Man 3, slightly. Apart from that, don't need any preconceived knowledge. A arc every single time. Tom Holland, however, you have to watch every single appearance to really grasp the concept. At the very least, you have to watch Civil War, Homecoming, Endgame, Far From Home, No Way Home to get the full grasp of the arc for Spider-Man in the MCU. And the MCU has done this all around. The MCU has always been about overarching characters. It's never been about individualistic arcs. Maybe in Phase 1 it was slightly, because they were at a point where they didn't know what the future was going to be like. But when it started getting to Phase 3, you started seeing characters having arcs over several movies. They had journeys that would consist of the same themes over different movies. Whereas movies like the Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire, you notice that the first movie was about responsibility. The second movie was about his mental health and Spider-Man's, the duality of Spider-Man and Peter Parker. And then the third movie was about choice. And obviously themes still were consistent throughout, like responsibility does come back to play a part in the other 2 movies, etc. But they were individual movies with individual arcs. The MCU had a whole arc. So they were different stylistic choices. And you can prefer one or the other, but I don't think it's fair to say that one is bad simply because it does something different. It's a stylistic choice. I'm trying to calm, but God, Lewis, your takes are bad. I'm sorry, man. I like Tobey Maguire. I said I like Tobey Maguire. But that's too much work waiting 3 solo Spider-Man appearances. Yeah, I mean, some people don't like the fact that it took 3 movies, which is fair enough. But the arc still worked. In my opinion. I still think it worked. It did its job. Maybe it shouldn't have taken 3 movies. Possibly. That is a critique. But that was the stylistic choice that they went for, and that's how it came out. I think we can all agree, right? We can all agree, despite it taking the whole MCU for them to make a Spider-Man that is Spider-Man, we can all agree, right, that at the end of No Way Home, Tom Holland is a great character now. We can all agree that he's come to that point, right? I actually want to hear this in the chat. We put this in the chat right now. Can we all agree? Or is some people still unsure about his character at the moment? Yeah, true. Are we saying despite it taking 6 movies, can we all agree maybe he is? Yeah. So, going forward now, I think the people that maybe weren't a fan of the home movies, I just want to do a little bit of experiment. Yeah, so everyone's agreeing. I think once Peter went to space, there is no reason to make him dumber. That's true. So everyone kind of agrees that once the end of No Way Home comes along. Oh, mid? Okay, so maybe not everyone. But I think maybe the people that didn't like him in the Home trilogy will come to like him in the College trilogy, maybe. Anyway, just a little experiment there. Anyway, let's move on to the Rhino. No question, D. Worst villain in any Spider-Man movie, in my opinion. Completely useless. The only thing he was good for was a throwaway line in No Way Home. There we go. But Marvel has to be careful going further not to ruin the ending. Yeah, I agree. They have to play with that ending very carefully. We are going to be examining that very, very carefully, I think, when the fourth film comes out. Why is he involved in this ranking? Well, he was just in the list, so I put him in. You know, the MCU always ruins the source material. I don't. I think it's been a hit and miss, right? Especially recently, but I think the MCU generally has been pretty good. Are you going to rate animated Spider-Man villains after? That's a good idea. That would be a very long tier list, but that is a very good idea. I can't do it today because I've got work at 7, so we're going to have to peace out in about 30 minutes, but that is a very good idea. I will take that on board. MCU needs to have Rhino. I want the unstoppable force of pure force of nature Rhino. Yeah, Rhino could be done really good, but unfortunately TASM 3 just wasn't. I'm a bit worried about Spider-Man future in the MCU/Sony. I still don't understand if the Sonyverse is to take seriously. I think we will know by the end of 2024, because that's when Craven comes out, it's when Madam Web comes out. We're gonna have a lot more stuff on Hypno Hustler and Almaruto, probably. We will know. Venom 3 will be coming out too. Too scared to admit it. I liked Morbius. I mean, fair enough. F tier. Don't put Deeves in F. You know what? Yeah, he deserves an F. The most pointless Spider-Man villain. Right, let's move on to Doc Ock then. Right, guys. Everyone in the chat, tell me, where are we putting Dr. Octopus? Obviously, once again, we are counting No Way Home in this as well. So his character as a whole, from Spider-Man 2 to No Way Home. Almaruto, Life and Fate. I mean, God knows why Sony wanted to make a movie about Almaruto. There's so many other villains that they could have made a movie about. Doc Ock, easy S tier. Alfred Molina owns the role. Alfred Molina does own the role. I can't see anyone else playing Doc Ock, which is really bad, but Mark Hamill could play Doc Ock. I do like that casting choice. But Alfred Molina he killed it, didn't he? Killed it. S. Doc Ock is S tier, but Goblin is above him. S. Everyone's saying S for Doc Ock. This is interesting. It's interesting. S, any more votes as to where you... Well, not votes, but just your suggestions where you think he should be? Everyone's saying S tier. This is interesting. I don't know if you could tell by my reaction, but I might have not put him in S tier. Just finished the 1942 remaster. I'll send it to you tonight. Thanks, Ray. The Raimi Doc Ock is just a broken man. Comic Doc Ock is way too evil. Now, here's the thing with Doc Ock. No. Oh, no. He's a high A. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Listen. Hear me out. Wait. Listen. Hear me out. I swear down, my intentions are good. Okay? Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2 is overrated. He's cool, but nowhere near as late as people say he is. Yes, I agree. Spider-Man 2 is my favorite movie of all time. Okay? It is. However, I think the weakest part of Spider-Man 2 is Doc Ock. He's not a bad villain by any means. Not by any means at all. In fact, he's probably one of the best superhero movie villains we've ever gotten. But he is layered. He does have depth. But to be fair, there are better villains than him. I think Vulture's a more layered villain than him. I think... I don't know, because you got to look at it as... He was good, but was he groundbreaking as a villain? No. He kind of just disappears halfway through the movie as well. We forget about that. So, Spider-Man 2 is the best movie. Quick question. Where would we go Shocker if we added both? We'll get to that, I guess. Toby is the G. Andrew is the best Spider-Man. Tom is the best Peter. Prepare for tentacle attack. I did like Jake Gyllenhaal. Doc Ock is overrated. Yeah, I think Doc Ock is a little bit overrated. And I'm the Spider-Man 2 shill. Spider-Man 2 is my favourite movie of all time, as I've mentioned several times. But I just think that Doc Ock is A. I don't think he's S. I don't think he's near Vulture or Goblin. I mean, he might be kind of near Vulture, but not Goblin. TASM 3 from cancellation. Yeah, I mean, that would be cool. Train scene best. I will admit, though, yeah, to be fair, the train fight is the best action set piece in a Spider-Man movie. In narratively, I think the Spider-Man 3 end fight sequence is still one of the greatest Spider-Man set pieces of all time, just because it's so much fun, and it's like 15 minutes of just pure chaos, and every character just converging. It was really cool. But the train fight, I think, narratively, is one of the best fight scenes in superhero movies. Doc Ock had a wife and a brilliant career, but he lost everything. I felt sad for him every second. Yeah. Doc Ock is a tragic character. He is. I just think they didn't expand upon him in the best way that they could have done. He kind of disappears for most of the movie in the second act, and I understand why, because once he's introduced as this force for Peter to battle. He's this man that loses everything, as Ravenous Puncher said. But then he kind of disappears a little bit throughout the second act. He kind of appears here and there. At the bank scene, says he needs the money, but that's all he gets to do. In the middle of that, we're mostly focusing on Peter's character, which is where I think the movie is dramatically better than a lot of other Spider-Man movies. Peter gets so much attention as a character in this film, and that's why this film is my favourite Spider-Man film of all time. But Doc Ock, I think, takes a slight hit for it. So that's just my opinion. I don't know what you guys are saying. Most of you guys said S. I don't know. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I just think he's a little bit lower than S. Raimi's Spider-Man movies should have been close to 3 hours. You could see a lot cut. Yeah. If Spider-Man 3 was 2 hours, if Spider-Man 3 was 3 hours, if Spider-Man 2 was 3 hours long, I definitely think we could see more Doc Ock stuff, and then that would push him into S. There is an extended cut of Spider-Man 2, but there isn't any extra Doc Ock stuff in there, unfortunately. But if there was to be a 3-hour version, Doc Ock stuff would have been added, probably. Right, so Mysterio, where are we putting Mysterio? Let me know in the live chat. You touched on a good point about the Doc Ock absence. Yeah, I mean, I kind of always knew that it was there, but I never really thought it was an issue until Ray, if he's still in the chat, pointed out to me that Doc Ock kind of just does disappear and doesn't really have much to do in Act 2 of the movie. He's there for the first half of the movie, and then he just kind of disappears. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying. Mysterio is D. Wow. F tier. S. A. Wow. We are really on all over the place with this one. Why you gotta tell me this is? I was just giving you credit. I'm just giving you credit for something that you pointed out. B tier. Ray, where are you putting Mysterio? Since you're still here, where is Mysterio as a villain? Because I know your new opinion, should I say, on Far From Home. I'm really stuck with where to put Mysterio. I have no idea. C tier. I can't put him in the same category as Electro, though. I can't do that. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Mysterio is awesome. I don't know why I like him. I can't explain it. He is Iron Man villain. He's not Spider-Man villain. Yeah, I mean, okay, so the Iron Man villain thing got old with Mysterio. I think it worked well for Vulture, and it's something that I didn't really mind. But I mind more with Mysterio because they did it twice in a row. So I know you guys might be saying, oh, well, that's a bit hypocritical because Vulture did it. But with Vulture, it worked. It worked with Vulture. Whereas when they did it with Mysterio, it kind of felt like, okay, this is getting a bit cheap now. They did it twice. You know what I mean? You know, once, okay. Twice, don't do it twice. He was an okay villain. I'm trying to just think, did he have that many layers? Was he really a well fleshed out villain? Yeah. I mean, the stuff with Stark does make sense. He did feel like he was treated badly. I don't know. Yeah, he's alright. I just think the concept of his villain is a bit weak, isn't it? It's not the greatest thing of all time. No, but Mysterio ended up hating Peter. No, he wasn't. Mysterio felt like a lesser version of Vulture. Yeah, I guess that's what it is, really, isn't it? Fight scenes in No Way Home are better than most other MCU villains. MCU really don't really have many good villains. That's one thing with the MCU, isn't it? They don't have great villains. You got like Thanos, and like that's where all their energy went to. Right, Phase 4, by the way. Can we just, on a quick side note, Phase 4 has had some terrible villains. His motivation makes sense in the context of the MCU, but it was hard to relate to. Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's a bit weak, isn't it? Like I was saying before. It makes sense, it's just a bit weak. You know, there's with Vulture, it was like his family. He's got to protect his family. He's got to find a way for them to live, and then he's doing really well, and he gets found out. It's like, damn, you really kind of feel bad for this guy. Mysterio, who cares, man? You know what I mean? Tony Stark was the G. You know what I mean? So, I think Far From Home was not good or bad. So, in the last act, he was threatening and made Peter try harder. Iron Man villain. We are talking about Spider-Man villains. I like that. Iron Man connection made sense, but repetitive. Yes, I agree. I agree with that comment wholeheartedly. That's definitely. I think that's the nail on the head with that. With Mysterio, is that the connection made sense, but it was repetitive. He wants to be a superhero because Iron Man dies. It makes perfect sense in the MCU, but we as an audience cannot relate to that at all. That's also another good point to bring up. So yeah, lots of good points about Mysterio in the chat. And I think I will agree. The thing is, though, I'm kind of looking at it like this. No, actually, no, yeah. Because I was thinking, oh, well, I put Dean DeHaan's Harry Osborn in B, and I kind of feel bad putting Mysterio below that. But I do think he is a better character than Mysterio. Now that I really think about it, he was neglected as a kid through Norman. Spider-Man's blood, he needs it. He's dying from a disease. Spider-Man won't give it to him. Fair enough. You can understand why he'd be annoyed. Yeah, C. Top of C, though. He's better than Venom. And he's certainly better than Electro. But he's not B. Hi, just joined. Hi, 24 Bricks. How are we? Another channel member in the chat as well. If you guys, actually, speaking of membership, if you guys want to be a member, make sure to click that join button. For as little as 99 pence a month, you can get exclusive badges and emojis in live chats like this or comment sections. We have a variety of emojis like Spider-Man emojis, and we've got some cool flash emojis on right now as well, actually. And for the upper tier, you can get videos early. You can get all the perks before as well, so that's cool. So yeah, that's it. Just want Mysterio to have powers. Yeah, I mean, Mysterio's a funny one, isn't he? Because he can either be done really well or really poorly. I don't think, as a Spider-Man villain, I think his power set and the creative limitations that you can do with the character don't bode well. I think he's more of a villain of the week type villain rather than a villain that you can make into a movie about. I think if you're going to do him as a villain, he's... Because you look at where Mysterio was popped up before, and you go, okay... What's the most memorable villains of Spectacular Spider-Man? What's the most memorable villains of the 90s show? What's the most memorable villains of da-da-da-da-da-da, right? Even if Mysterio showed up at all, you go, well, Spectacular Spider-Man, Venom, and Green Goblin, probably, right? 90s show, probably Green Goblin. Carnage was pretty cool. Venom as well, right? Mysterio, nowhere to be seen. He's a villain of the week. He's a Shocker-type villain more than he is a Green Goblin, right? So... I'm in the house. Well, welcome back and cool. Mysterio is a cool character in fight scenes and No Way Home, setting the plot, but he can't lie. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean he influenced No Way Home, and that's something good. Why Chameleon never around? Shocker, very forgettable. What did I miss? Not much. We're just ranking the Spider-Man villains, as you can see on the screen. Right, where are we ranking Shocker? Let's see. Where are we ranking Shocker? Let's see. In the chat. Shocker is a D. I forgot he's in this movie every time I watch it. I disagree. Can Quentin Beck be MCU's Carnage? Jake can pull it off. Imagine Jake Gyllenhaal as Carnage. Maybe. Oh, I don't know. Could Jake Gyllenhaal do it? Maybe. He's a great actor, though. Bro did nothing. D. Can't really say. I'm late to the party. C. Borderline. D. Love Ned fighting the Shocker. Shocker feels like he's an Easter egg. Yeah, D. Everyone's saying D, but I'm going to put him bottom of C for consolation. Because Shocker's role in Homecoming was never to be the main villain. He was a minion, right? So I guess, okay, he did nothing, put him B, right? D, sorry. And he has no layers to him. He isn't even a character, really. I don't think his name is ever even mentioned, is it? Is it mentioned? Herman? But he's yeah, he's a minion, and that's his purpose. He isn't anything more. He isn't meant to be a developed and layered character. So he serves his purpose. You know? The portrayal was good, the performance was good. I can't really fault it down for not being a layered character because that wasn't his purpose. So he was a good minion villain, is what I mean. You know what I mean? So I guess as a C, I think it's unfair to put it as a D because that wasn't his purpose. I guess you could say the same for Rhino, but Rhino eventually comes back at the end, which was a really weird choice because that meant that he was set up to be something more. Rhino was really poor as a villain. Shocker is like Ebony Maw in Infinity War. Yeah. For that logic, Lewis, you put Rhino bottom C. No, because I think Rhino, he came back at the end of TASM 2, didn't he? Like, they were setting him up to be something more major. And that never paid off. And his dialogue was horrible. Shocker's dialogue wasn't horrible. Shocker's dialogue wasn't horrible, in my opinion. Rhino's dialogue was horrible as well. So yeah, right. Well, that's it. That's the villain tier list. We can talk for a little while longer. So put any questions that you might have in the chat, and we'll get talking. Because I've got about maybe 5-10 more minutes before I will have to go. But we do not have a time for end of the tier list, unfortunately, tonight. Because I do have work at 7 o'clock. Rhino, he did nothing. Yeah, Rhino did nothing. Shocker's dialogue wasn't horrible because he didn't have any dialogue. No, he didn't have much, but it wasn't horrible. It wasn't a bad character. You know what I mean? He's alright. Can you do more what ifs with Spider-Man? Yes. Well, if you go and subscribe to Lewis Fiction, that is my fan fiction channel. We post every single Thursday and Sunday. Yeah. There you go. Sundays are usually the reoccurring series. Thursday midweek episodes are usually just random fan fictions. I will be uploading what ifs on there. I'm not going just yet, but he could have been replaced by literally anything. Yeah, he could. I mean, maybe he's a D then. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is a D because he didn't really do anything. I don't know. I just think it's a little bit unfair. But then again, Rhino his dialogue was horrible. He was set up to be something more and it never paid off. And he was useless. That car chase scene at the start of the film was useless as well. It was really bad. Shocker did nothing. But his dialogue wasn't horrible. His purpose was fulfilled. You know what? We'll chuck him in. C-. Yeah, there you go. He's in between. He's in between here. He's in between. He can go in either or. You can't have Shocker on the same level as Rhino. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Favorite X-Men? Wolverine. Oh, that's boring, but still. In the near future, Spider-Man will face-to-face competition from DC. Characters like the Flash, Nightwing will definitely target the same target demographic as Spider-Man. They definitely will. I don't think Spider-Man will ever lose his place as the top superhero because I think the relatability and the marketization for younger audiences and family audiences is a lot higher than characters like Nightwing and Flash. I thought your Ben 10 series went pretty cool. Thank you very much. If you don't know, I did a Ben 10 series on Lewis Fiction. You can go check that out as well. See you next Friday. If you're logging off, I'll see you next Friday. We're going to be here for a couple more minutes. In my opinion, Dr. Octopus should be low S. Yeah, well, we've been debating this, weren't we? So, Doc Ock is kind of in that region, but I put him high A because I don't think he's quite on that level. They should have had Harry Osborn and Sandman as the main villains and save Venom for a Spider-Man 4. Similar, it's interesting you bring that up because a similar sort of situation we talked about with Dane DeHaan's Green Goblin in TASM 2 going to TASM 3. 24 Brick says bye. See you later, man. Hopefully you can make it next Friday as well. What do you think about the DC reboot? That's a good question. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I really, really like it. I don't know. I posted a video on The Flash talking more about the DC universe. I'm really excited for it. I'm excited because it's James Gunn, number one, and number two, I think they are doing something a little different to the MCU. As you guys probably know, I'm an advocate for very pinpoint direction storytelling when they do universes, but because that's what the MCU did, which is why I think Phase 4 has kind of failed a bit because it's kind of ventured away from that. But I think DC is going for something different straight off the off. So right off the bat, they're going for something completely different. They tried to do the same. They tried to do the kind of direction storytelling thing that Marvel did with the Snyderverse. Didn't really pay off that well. So they've scrapped it, gone from something completely different straight from the off. And I think that's where they're going to succeed because it is a connected universe, but they're doing stories that they're going to be good stories. It's almost going to be like a universe full of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, a universe full of Batman movies. It's going to be good quality movies, good quality characters that just so happen to live in the same universe, which I don't mind. That's completely fine with me. But the fact that it's a chapter suggests to me that there is going to be some sort of endgame at some point, which we'll see. Now, the reason it doesn't work for the MCU is because the MCU had that formula for 3 phases and then decided to sack it off for Phase 4, which is then where they lost. Because they have all these characters that are in this linear narrative, and then when they start kind of throwing things at the fan, some things don't stick, and they kind of lose that overarching narrative thing that they had going on. And obviously some character arcs were still continuous from Phase 3, which I think threw the whole thing out of whack. I've made many videos on that anyway. You guys can check them out if you want. Can you announce a few ideas for the future of Spider-Man Cinematic Universe? Well, I've 2099's an idea, potentially. Spider-Girl trilogy is something as well I would want to do. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, it's a series on LewisFiction. I don't really know. I haven't really thought about it, but Phase 8, I might do it at some point. Do you think that Kang Dynasty is Spider-Man 3.5 since Tom Holland will be a lead character? I'm scared for Kang Dynasty. If Tom Holland's the lead character, I'm excited if he is because I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's my favorite character of all time, but scared, man, scared. What are your thoughts on Lego Marvel Superheroes? I love those games. They're pretty good. Well, the first one. I've only played the first one. Tier list request Spider-Man love interest. That is a very good idea. Thank you, Back and Cool. I will note that down. What are we doing next Friday? Right, actually, yeah, tell me in the chat. What are we doing next Friday? What are we doing next Friday? Let me know. What tier list shall we do next Friday? Because you guys can show back up. We can do another tier list again. I had fun tonight. I had fun doing these tier lists. I think this is my highlight of the week, doing these tier lists. I love interacting with you guys. It's great. I think the MCU at this point needs the individuality. The characters are not able to hold up well. See, the thing is, I think they could have done it well if they did it more gradual. But the way that they started to do it is, with Phase 4, they just started throwing stuff at the fan. And it dropped the quality. It dropped, obviously, visually and storytelling-wise as well. I just think if they were to kind of ease their way into just kind of being a more spread-out, non-linear universe, it could have worked a lot better, but they haven't. Like, what they could have done is they could have carried on with the linear narrative thing and then split off into 2 narratives and then split off into 3. So we could have gone from the Multiverse Saga, which was the main line, go to a street-level story, go to maybe an X-Men story, and maybe a Fantastic Four story, and just have those narratives. Not She-Hulk, here's Moon Knight, here's a Daredevil show, here's Spider-Man 4, here's Eternals, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and you're having 4 movies a year with 10 Disney Plus shows, and the CGI looks like it came out in 1960, and, you know, there you go. Comic villain tier list, that's a good one as well. Spider-Man love interest tier lists. I have a strange feeling that Secret Wars is going to suck. I really hope it doesn't. The issue is, right, Kang Dynasty has the same writer as Quantum Mania. Oh. I am not... I am... But it's got the Shang-Chi director, so there is hope. 2 tier lists. Cap 4 and Flash are my most anticipated comic book movies. What are mine? Mine are... The Flash, I agree with you. The Flash is one of mine, after seeing that trailer. Ooh. Spider-Man 4, but does that count because we haven't really got a trailer for it yet? That's very cool. You know what? I'm going to throw this out there. Madam Web. Madam Web. Madam Web. Madam Web and The Flash. There you go. I'll throw that out there. Madam Web and The Flash. Back in cool tier list. Rank all Spider-Man final battles next Friday, or best scenes not having to be the final battle. The American Civil War and World War One happened within one lifetime. So Ray's going all philosophical on us. The Marvels. Oh yeah, I forgot the Marvels is happening. Thunderbolts. Yeah, I'm curious with Thunderbolts. I wouldn't say excited. I'm curious. I'm curious. Yeah, so okay, so we might do love interests next week then, if that's what everyone's happy with. We can do Spider-Man love interest. We can do excuse me, the larger world of comic villains the week after, and then we could do maybe ranking the soundtracks. That could be cool. And we could do oh, Guardians. Oh yeah, Guardians 3. Yeah, shoot. Okay, I'll throw Guardians 3 in there as well. Maybe 2 lists so that everybody's happy. Yeah, I mean we could. It depends how much time we have. I think the Thunderbolts and Marvels are certain flops. Spider-Man should appear in Armor Wars. It's rumored to be a West Coast Avengers movie. Yeah, Armor Wars is getting a lot of rumors to be this kind of grand movie now, isn't it? Rank American presidents. I know nothing about American presidents. Right, okay, real quick before we go. American presidents, who can I name off the top of my head? George Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden. Oh my god. Roosevelt, Henry Hoover, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, JFK. Yeah. I say Henry Hoover. Was it Herbert Hoover? I think it was Herbert Hoover. I don't know. I don't know anymore. That was about it. Yeah, okay. Back and cool. Yes, man, it is a good idea. Hey, do you think the MCU should not killed off the mighty Thor, aka Jane Foster? Is she really dead though? I mean, she's in the afterlife somewhere. She's in Valhalla, whatever it may be. Yes, I said Henry Hoover. Okay, right, yeah. Well, we'll wrap up the stream now then. I have to go move my car anyway. Yeah, so thanks for watching the stream. I do appreciate it. This has been great. This has been fun. I broke you on stream goal success. You didn't break me on stream. Henry Hoover. I just got it wrong. I don't know. Right, okay. See you later, guys. Thanks for coming. Been a great stream. I'll see you next Friday. Take care. Peace.